All Quiet on the Western Front was directed by Edward Berger, and it stars Felix Kramer, Daniel Bruhl, and Aaron Hilmer. Sorry if I absolutely butchered those names. This film is, of course, an adaptation of the novel All Quiet on the Western Front. And this isn't the first time that this film was adapted to the big screen. The first time this film was adapted to the big screen was in 1930. That film was also called All Quiet on the Western Front, and it managed to win Best Picture at the Oscars that year. You may or may not be familiar with that film, as it is required viewing for a lot of people in high school history class. That is how I got introduced to this story, but now I believe that this film is the definitive adaptation of this story. This review may contain spoilers to this film, so if you've never seen this film or you were never forced to read the book in high school, I would highly recommend skipping to this timestamp. There will also be a timestamp in the description that you can skip to. To cut to the chase, this might be my favorite film of the year. Whether we are talking about the beautiful cinematography, the amazing performances, or this film's unforgettable message. This film has some of the best wide shots I have seen this year. So much chaos and destruction is communicated in these shots. There were also some beautiful examples of symmetry shown in this film. It honestly gave me Wes Anderson vibes. Though communicated through the beautiful cinematography is some of the most disturbing images I have seen in a film in quite a while. This doesn't automatically equal gory imagery. This could be as simple as a pair of glasses on the floor. If you have seen this film, you will know exactly what I am referring to. Although this film isn't afraid to be grisly and graphic, though this is completely necessary. The violence in this film is never gratuitous. This film doesn't just use violence for the hell of it. There's always a message behind all the carnage. I just love how the war scenes are depicted in this film. There is absolutely no sense of glorification present here. This film really lives up to the narrative that war is hell. These scenes feel like something straight out of a horror movie. There is an excellent scene where 3 tanks come in, and the way these tanks were framed reminded me on how monsters are framed in horror movies. This scene was actually genuinely scary, and that's not something to be taken lightly. The reason why this scene worked is because it managed to show the audience just a small little glimpse on the horrors that these real people had to face on a daily basis. This film is definitely an anti-war movie, and definitely one of the most effective ones I have ever seen. Though this film isn't afraid to take a break from its message and to build its characters. During the second act, this film has a lot of downtime, just spending time with our characters, getting to know them, getting to know their aspirations, and what their lives looked like before the war. These scenes are actually surprisingly lighthearted, but there is definitely a dark side to these scenes, because since this is an anti-war movie, the audience already knows that home isn't a thing that these characters are ever going to see again. This film does a stellar job in making the audience feel just such a sense of attachment for these characters, and this sense of attachment just makes the battle scenes feel so much more impactful. Not to sound preachy, but I believe that any nation that has interests in inflicting war on others should be forced to watch this movie. This film brilliantly displays the hypocrisies of war and the injustices of war, and of course, the innocent human lives that get cut short because of war. This film depicts the First World War from Germany's perspective. It completely abandons the idea of good guys and bad guys. In war, atrocities can be committed on both sides of the conflict. In war, there are good people on each opposing side, though unfortunately it is these individuals that have to pick up the pieces. All Quiet on the Western Front was a novel that was written by Erich Remarque. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He was a German man that had to live through the horrors of World War I. His story is now depicted on the big screen yet again 80 years later, and it still manages to stay relevant. This film is on Netflix, and I would absolutely highly recommend watching this film. This film is, of course, a must-watch. I believe that this film is a masterpiece, and because of that, All Quiet on the Western Front deserves an A+. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my review of All Quiet on the Western Front. And if you did, make sure to give this video a like. And if you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching.